Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discovery Adventures. I am Marcy, and I am here in my home, getting excited to learn all about African animals. You can see on our other screen one of our amazing dioramas at the Field Museum. It is called Watering Hole, and it captures a number of African animals in one location. And you might see the silhouette of another animal there. That is our guide to Africa, Jeff. They're at the museum, who will talk you through some of our dioramas and show you some really cool items that we have here at the museum. Hi, Jeff. Welcome.
Hey, Marcy, thanks. All right, welcome everyone. Good to be here at the museum. And again, we're closed, so there's no one around, so that's why I'm going maskless. We always play it safe, but I'm able to talk with you here in the African animals. And so as I get going on the introduction, I want anyone out there who would like to tell us in the chat, what is one of your favorite African animals? And Marcy can share a few of those with me in a little bit. But right now you can see we've got the diorama behind me, and it is a beautiful one of my favorites. It's got a lot of different animals in it. And again, our dioramas are really special because they preserve these animals in a way that we can kind of see the habitat they might live in with the backgrounds that are painted on there and with the different creatures kind of together. And in Africa, a watering hole is a place where a lot of different creatures gather together, seeking that water, of course. Water can be hard to find and can be a commodity, so it can be a great place for animal interaction. And our diorama kind of pictures that. You can see here the giraffes, the rhinos, they're checking each other out a little bit. The zebras are kind of waiting in the background. So these dioramas have always given our guests a chance to kind of take a look into the lives of these animals. Now, Marcy, do we have any ideas coming in that people's favorites?
Absolutely. We have a lot of lions. People really love lions. And cheetah and zebra. These are all really great. My personal favorite is the warthog.
Nice.
Children remembers in Lion King, there is an awesome warthog, Pumbaa. And Simply Eerie loves all animals, which is great. I also really love all animals. And Linda says the silverback gorilla. Seems like we have a wide variety of animals here.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So yeah, one of my favorites, probably my favorite, is right behind me here, the giraffes. They're so unique and just so different than so many things that we know today with those long necks, the beautiful patterns. And Marcy and I were just talking about the ossicles, correct? The little tiny things on the head, which aren't quite horns. They're kind of like ossified cartilage almost. So the babies, they're down and then they kind of grow as they get older, but giraffes being one of my favorites. So yeah, we're going to talk about African animals, and we will hit some of those favorites that I have seen people chatting to us. So I also have, of course, as usual, some artifacts here. And we're going to look at these artifacts or specimens of different animals to learn more. Because by studying these, we can learn some details that you might not be able to see without looking more closely, just looking at the animal outside. And I'll bet a lot of people have probably, if they've been to the museum, have seen our two fighting African elephants on the main floor in the main hall there. And those elephants, those are real taxidermed elephants. And if anyone out there has looked really carefully up at them, you might have seen a little bit into their mouth and seen that there are some teeth. So I am going to show you a couple things here. Stop my video because I'm gonna swivel.
That's amazing. I don't think I've ever actually looked up into their mouths, but I'll definitely have to do that next time I am in the museum.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so we're gonna look at this next. You won't be able to see me, but I'm gonna show you right here. So this is a real jaw, lower jaw from an elephant. Now, I want everyone to take a look at it. Look at my hand compared to the size. Think about the size of elephants. Now, does anyone out there have an idea about how old this elephant might have been when it died? Do you think it was an adult, a young one, older, middle-aged? Think about the size, different clues. And as you think about that, and as you chat Marcy some of your answers as to how old you think this elephant was, I'm going to talk a little bit about the teeth. Elephants' teeth are really unique. If you get a good view here, you can see that they've got some ridges on them for grinding up plants or grasses they might eat. And then there's something unique here too. How many teeth does this elephant have in its mouth? Well, let's see. I'm not going to make you count at home. I'll count here with you. 1, 2. And 3 and 4 are kind of coming in behind. So this is one big tooth right here. This whole thing in my hand, that is one big elephant tooth. And then this is the second one. Now, elephants, their teeth work a little differently. So think about us. When our teeth grow in, they'll push the other ones out. And we get 2 sets of teeth, right? So the elephant actually can have up to 6 sets of teeth. And in the back, those right there are new teeth coming in, but they don't push straight up. They come in like a conveyor belt, pushing these forward, and as then they crack, the new teeth will come in.
Jeff, can you just move your camera down just a little bit?
Yeah, I absolutely will. Let's get that. There we go.
Perfect.
Better view. All right. Thanks, Marcy. So yeah, and let me know if we get any guesses as to how old this elephant was, thinking about the size. So yeah, you get a great view of these teeth, and I'm going to try and see if we can see this. We might not be able to, but in the back, not quite, but there's holes, and you can almost see new teeth way back in there, way in the back of the jaw getting ready to come in. So elephants, they get those 6 sets of teeth if they get to be an old elephant. And after that, they just kind of have to do the best they can. And please let me know also, Marcy, if we have any questions coming in about our
we don't have any guesses on the age of the elephant, but Roxy and Janelle would like to know how many elephants we have at the Field Museum. And I don't know if you know that answer. I do not. But our friend Rebecca, who works in our mammals department, is here today. So we'll see if she can answer that one for us. So give us a few minutes, see if she can figure that answer out.
Yeah, Rebecca's our scientist on call here who's going to help us with some of these answers. So while we're waiting to hear about that, let's look real quick at this next really cool specimen we've got. Zoom in on that a bit. There we go. And we've got a skull here. Now, instead of chatting, I'm just going to have everyone at home, if you're with anyone or even if you're alone, say out loud what you think this might remind you of. If you've seen an animal that kind of looks like that. I'm thinking of an animal, Marcy, maybe on a farm.
Oh yeah, it has this really long face, it looks like, maybe kind of like a horse or something.
Yeah, looking at clues like that, right. A long face, kind of like a horse, the high brow up here. It's got some teeth in back that look really great for kind of grinding on grass. So this does look very similar to a horse. And this is actually a zebra's skull. Now, this is a male zebra. Not sure if anyone knows how I know that, but, oh, ouch. There's a clue up front. If you look at the front, so horses don't have these, but zebras, the males actually have canine teeth, like the sharp teeth in our mouth that you guys can feel. So why would those zebras have canine teeth? Usually that's something that meat eaters have.
Yeah, that sounds crazy to me. I did not know that just the males have those teeth.
Yeah, so I wonder if it has something to do with being male and what males have to do. If you had sharp teeth, you could fight. Maybe the males are fighting.
So is it like they have to fight each other?
Yes. So, sorry. Hope you didn't get dizzy. I always forget that. So yeah, the male zebras will fight over females, and so those big canines can help them when they fight. So yeah, male zebras, kind of cool fact, actually have some canine teeth. Pretty cool for an animal that pretty much eats grass and plants. Awesome.
Awesome. Ghostfire says thought that maybe that zebra skull was a gazelle, that's a really great guess. They both have those similar shaped heads.
A long,
Um, and so Jeff, Rob guessed that the elephant was 80 years old when it died.
okay.
Is that close at all to what the actual age was?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. It actually isn't close. It's kind of at the other end of the spectrum. So elephants can get to be pretty old, and I've heard I think like 60 years, even a little bit more sometimes. But that elephant, and think about the teeth, and it's got a new set growing in. So think of the older ones. If they get 6 sets, they don't get another. So that's a clue. This one's still got some growing in. It couldn't be super old. But then think about the size again of that jaw compared to my hand. Think about the size of elephants. That's actually as big as that looks compared to my hand. That's actually a young elephant. Not quite a baby, but probably 2, 3 years old. So a very young one. So amazing that it's that big. Now, there's different ways we get these skulls. Sometimes they are collected out in nature. Other times they are donations from zoos or different areas like that, or a wildlife place. So way back when, collecting was a lot different. So the big elephants in the hall would have actually been hunted and then brought in. But we don't do that nowadays with the large mammals. So it's a little different, but we oftentimes do get those donations from zoos. Now let me get one more skull.
And Jeff, while you're getting that skull, we have an answer about number of specimens that we have of elephant specimens. So African elephant specimens in the museum, we have 17. Now, 15 of those are behind the scenes and only here for scientists to study and research. The other 2 are out on exhibit, and those are the 2 African elephants that Jeff was talking about in our main hall here at the museum.
Nice. Cool. Thanks, Rebecca. I'm going to show one more skull off before we make a move to our next habitat. So think about this watering hole. What you see here, I see trees. Let's see, Marcy, can you notice anything else in the background, the watering hole?
Let's see. I see a lot of open space. I also see a tall, like dirt mound on the right side. Yeah, nice big tree and some mountains out there. Is that what I'm seeing there?
Yeah, it looks like some mountains. There's trees, but they're not many trees. So this is a good, and a lot of that open land with grasses in it. So this is an indication that we're seeing animals kind of more in the savanna or in the grasslands. Our next place we'll move to will be more into the forest. So someone who likes gorillas might be happy. But before that, I'm going to show you one more animal real quick. And Marcy, you said you like the warthog on the Lion King. There's another animal on the Lion King besides lions that plays a really prominent role. And if you look at this weird crest here, this skull, and anyone who thinks they know, feel free to chat while I'm talking about it. This weird crest is called a sagittal crest. You can see this is the crest right here. It's very big. Everyone feel your head. I don't feel one. Hopefully no one feels one. We don't really have one. The sagittal crest is where muscles can attach, and that gives the animal a stronger bite. So a big sagittal crest is an indication of a strong bite. So what would be this animal that might live on the savanna or grasslands, along with lions? It's prominent on the Lion King movies. It's got some good sharp teeth. Those are telling me it probably eats meat, and then a really strong bite. Oh, what would have a really, really strong bite here? Marcy, do you see any other clues about this animal?
Oh, man. I
Eyes
see
are
its eyes are kind of staring at me
oh,
right now, straight into that screen.
they are.
And we have a guess here from Rob. Thanks, Rob. That is a hyena, and Nasir says lion, and Alex says tiger.
Oh, great guesses, everyone. You're thinking about these carnivores, the eyes in front, ready to hunt with the sharp teeth. Those are great guesses. Oh, I see Ghostfire says cheetah, awesome. So Rob, you nailed it. This is a hyena. Actually has a bigger crest in proportion to its head than even like a lion. So this has a super strong bite. And if you think about what hyenas eat, that makes sense. They are scavengers. They will eat bone. In fact, if you're ever in Africa and you walk around and you see white poop on the ground, sounds weird, poop isn't usually white, but white poop on the ground, it very likely could be hyena poop because they eat so many bones. All right, it's time to move on to our next habitat here into the forest. So I'm gonna cut my video for a moment and Marcy can show you a really cool animal.
Yes, so I am going to share my screen real quick, and apologies for getting to the right location. And this is one of my favorite animals in Africa, this unique animal called the Okapi. And maybe some of you have seen these. They are at the Brookfield Zoo if you ever go there. And this is a really good example of why we need to get a real close look at an animal. From afar, you might think this maybe is related to a zebra. It has those cool stripes on it. But there's a nice clue on their skulls of who they are actually related to. And if you look up here, you see these little horns right here. And we actually saw those little horns on another animal in that diorama, and that was the giraffe. So both these animals have these little horns, these ossicones, and that helps us, these types of details and features help us understand what animals are related to what. And I'm gonna pass it back to Jeff here, who is at our next animal. Oh, but before I pass it over to you, Jeff, a lot of people are asking of how old zebras can get. And our scientist, Rebecca, is telling us that they can live to around 25 years.
Does Rebecca have any ideas?
Oh, I think we lost Jeff.
Marcy, I think you might have cut out there for just a second. Can we still have you?
Sorry. We asked Rebecca how old zebras can get, and it's around 25 years.
25 years, okay, wow. That's pretty good. All right, we're gonna try this again with the bongos. There we go. All right, so I am here in the forest with some bongos, and these are a type of herbivore that lives in the deep forest. They have these wonderful stripes, and I'd like people to go ahead and chat what you think those stripes might help them do, or why do you think bongos have those beautiful stripe patterns on them? Kind of use your clues. Look where these bongos are at, look what's around them, and think about how those stripes might help them. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get out our next item here. All right, so in the forests of Africa, we also have other creatures here. So Marcy, feel free to share with me when you do get some chats about the bongos and their stripes. But this animal right here is a really neat skull, one of my favorites. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of my own skull. Bigger sagittal crest. I don't really have one. A little bit bigger canines. But the back teeth, I'm gonna hold them up close here. Hold them still there. There you go. Look very much like my molars. Now this is a replica skull. Sometimes we use replicas to protect the real ones or because the real ones are hard to get. But this is a really neat animal. I'm going to tell you what it is in just a moment. I'll let everyone think about it. Marcy, did we get any thoughts on our bongos?
We did. We have a few guesses. Camouflage, or Ghostfire says it's probably for camouflage. Alex says to scare animals from trying to eat them. Soapy guesses to scare or attract. And then we have lots of guesses, lots of correct guesses about what skull you're holding. But I'll let you talk about the bongo first.
Yeah, so bongos have these wonderful stripes. They kind of emulate patterns of light coming through the forest. So it's a great camouflage for the bongos. Now, I don't know, maybe Rebecca can chime in, but I would assume probably a bongo with some good stripes, a male, might be more attractive to a female, might look healthier. I don't know about that for sure, but they use those stripes for camouflage to blend in when things are hunting them. And we've got, oh, we do have some guesses on this. Wonderful, yeah. So this is a gorilla skull. It is a replica, but this is a gorilla skull. You get a great idea of that. And I don't know if anything surprised you about this gorilla skull, Marcy, that you didn't expect?
I'm actually pretty surprised with how big the back of its head is. I mean, I guess if I think about a male gorilla, it does have a really big head, but that's interesting.
It does. It has this big sagittal crest. It's got a good sized spot right here. We see there's a hole. You know, it fits inside there, the brain. So you can see it's got a good sized brain case, telling me this is an intelligent animal, as I think most of us know. The sagittal crest, well, this gorilla is going to eat tough plants. If anyone's ever tried to chew through some really tough types of plants, yeah, they're pretty tough and rugged. Gorillas need to chew on that. But these canines, gorillas, are plant eaters. So we've met a couple animals in Africa that have these strange canines, like a zebra and a gorilla. Well, think about the zebra. The gorilla has those for a similar reason. Not quite the exact same, but similar. If you have any ideas of why that gorilla might have those large canine teeth, think back to the zebra. Feel free to chat your answers. And as I set the gorilla down, I'm going to get out something new. Something else with very, very impressive teeth. Very, very careful with this. It's a real specimen. Be very cautious. Okay.
Whoa.
Look at that. So this animal also has huge, huge front teeth, so much bigger compared to its head than us, or a gorilla, or a zebra. They almost look as big as tusks, like an elephant, but they're actually teeth that would be slightly hollow, that would allow this creature to inject venom into its prey. And venom, again, is something that's injected like a shot, whereas poison is something you eat. So this animal, and Marcy, if you'd like to show a slide so people can maybe picture it. This animal would live in dense underbrush or forests. There it is. And it's wonderfully camouflaged. You may even have a little trouble seeing it as it is. Lots of snake guesses, Rudy says. Awesome, yes. So this is indeed a snake, and a venomous snake. Very venomous and very large, kind of wide-bodied snake. So this is called the gaboon viper, one of my absolute favorite snakes. And you can see some really neat features here on our screen. You can see it has two little horns almost on its nose. It's very flat, and its face is very flat, almost like a leaf. You can see how wide its face is. And if you look here, I'll try this again. If you look here, you can see there's the skull. The back, those things that look like wings, are where you can kind of see the jaws flaring out. And then the really cool thing I'm going to show you, it's hard to see, but I'm going to try here. Tell me if you can see. Let me turn it around here, Marcy.
I can stop sharing my screen to make that a little larger.
Thanks. There we go. Look on the one side. And it only has one fang. It's got two fangs there in front. This side looks like it's missing one of the two fangs. So gaboon vipers, really, really neat snake. Not super well known, but one of the neatest ones you can discover. So I definitely would recommend everyone out there to check out gaboon vipers, Gaboon vipers, online and learn more about them. So let's see, Marcy, did we have any other questions or any comments before we continue our journey to the next stop?
It doesn't look like we have any questions. John Weinstein's on, so hi, John. one of our friends from the Field Museum, one of our photographers. Glad you could join us today. Yeah,
Awesome.
no other questions.
Cool. Well, that means we have a question for all of you then. So Marcy, I'm going to let you do a trivia question while I move to our final stop.
Absolutely. So we have this question for you. I want you to think about what is one of the closest living relatives to an elephant? And as you think about that, maybe some of you already know. This is something that I did not know and found very surprising. These are, you imagine an elephant is big and gray. So you might think that an animal that is also big and gray is related to it. But some things can be surprising. Think of that giraffe and Okapi. They have some features that are similar, but not all of them are similar. And let's see, Alex says giraffe. Maybe the giraffe is closely related. Let's see. 3 Homed Gaming says manatees. That is a really great guess. Simply Ari says a mammoth. That's a good guess. Mammoths aren't around a lot anymore today, but they look very much like an elephant. And Jeff is back with us. I'm going to show you this little picture. Alex also guesses woolly mammoth. What do you think, Jeff? What are we looking at, and what do you think of those guesses?
Look at this little thing. Well, Marcy, can you show us real quick? I want everyone to look really carefully at this little animal's jaw. You can almost see 2 little tusks, 2 mini tusks sticking out. Look at that. And this lazy looking little guy here. So that is a rock hyrax. Now, those were some great guesses. And I love how people were thinking about different animals that look a lot like elephants. Now, I made it a tricky question. I threw in closest living relative to an elephant. So I think I tricked a couple people on the mammoth. Mammoth would be closely related, more so than this, but mammoths are extinct. Now, technically, scientists are starting to think, and we do believe, probably manatees and dugongs are the closest living relatives to an elephant. This is pretty close, though. And we want to hit on this one because it's another African animal. This is the rock hyrax, and this is one of the closest living relatives to an elephant. Isn't that crazy? This little animal, it's about the size of a rabbit. It's about that big, maybe a little bigger. You can see them at Brookfield Zoo. They're great climbers, and they look all chubby, but they hop around on the rocks. Very, very cool animal. All right, well, because we're getting a little short on time, I'm going to very slowly swivel here to reveal our final animals. There we go. All right. And real quick to answer the gorilla question from earlier, I don't know if we got any responses, but those big teeth are for show to threaten other males for a mate. Kind of like the zebra, but probably not biting as much. So behind me, we have 2 very famous residents of the Field Museum, the lions of Tsavo. Now, the lions of Tsavo are well known as man-eating lions. And they were featured in a film called The Ghost in the Darkness. So some of you may have had a chance to see that film. Now, these lions, they ate quite a few people. But there's some debate about how many they actually ate. Now, this was back in the late 1800s, 1890s, and some people were building a bridge in Africa, and people started to disappear from the camp. And at first they thought, well, maybe they were just leaving. But no one had seen these people in their villages. So then they figured out something was eating these people. I'll grab it right here. Here is your lion skull. Eyes in front, ready to hunt. In this case, it was humans. Big, sharp teeth for holding down and gripping, and back teeth for tearing. And these lions did eat people. They were eventually killed by the man who was supervising the workers. And he claimed they ate over 100 people, I believe. Correct, Marcy? But I don't remember the exact number he claimed. But now we were able to go back because the real lions we bought from him, these specimens, these are the actual lions of Tsavo. they're a little smaller than they were because they were kept as rugs for a while and they shrunk. And we have the real skulls as well, you can see off to the side there. And by analyzing, we were able to determine with the proteins left in the specimens how many people they actually ate. One lion ate 24 and the other 10 people. So together they ate 34 people. Not quite 100, but still, that's a lot of people. But why? Why did they turn to eating people? Lions don't usually do that. Well, let's see. I'm looking at that top jaw. I see some nice sharp teeth, ready to eat a zebra or something tough. And then I look at the bottom jaw. Whoa.
Yeah, that doesn't look so good.
That doesn't look so good at all. No. A badly abscessed tooth. Other teeth that look unhealthy. This lion, they both had bad teeth. And when you've got bad teeth, it's hard to hold a struggling zebra because that hurts like the dickens. So what you want to do is look for something that's softer and slower and doesn't struggle as much with hooves and stuff when you grab it. And they found humans. Perfect fit. And these lions were then able to eat these humans in order to survive for a while. It ended up bad for them in the end, though. So the lions of Tsavo. And now we have a special feature. I have one final creature to show you, which I'm really, really happy to be able to show. And I'm going to very carefully get it over here. Set it down, and then I'm going to pick it up. So this is a real specimen, so I'm being very careful. Handle it, put my hands under it. Pick it up. All right. So we're going to bring this animal up here. Now, as I start to talk about it, I'd like anyone who thinks they know what this animal is to go ahead and chat that to us. I'll try to move it pretty slowly so you can see it, and then back up so you can see the whole animal. There we go. I'm going to turn it really carefully with my hands under it. There's the top of the animal. I'm going to let you see the face. What do you notice about it? Marcy, do you notice anything?
Yeah, this is an animal that doesn't look like most other animals. It's got like these big scales, and I see its head's really tiny, and it's got those really long claws. Jim guesses that it's an armadillo.
Mm-hmm. That's a great guess.
Nice long tail, it looks like.
It does have a pretty long tail. I'm going to turn it over. See the bottom. Has some long claws.
Oh, Maddie has seen this, but can't remember its name.
Oh, I think maybe Ghostfire had a good guess.
Yes, Ghostfire, you're on top.
What did Ghostfire say?
Ghostfire calls it a pangolin.
It is a pangolin, yes. So this is a beautiful specimen of a ground pangolin from Africa. And this Rebecca is an expert on pangolins, so she may weigh in on some of this too. But these pangolins, they have these wonderful scales, and they're made of keratin. It's kind of like the substance of our hair, but it's tightly packed together. So these scales offer a wonderful protection for these pangolins from a lot of different animals. And Rebecca was sharing with me that when this pangolin rolls up, it uses this big thick tail, it wraps it around the body, and it ends up looking kind of like a big scaly bowling ball. And that's great protection because its outer casing is hard and it's too big for a lion to really get its jaws around. So a lion can't really do much with this. And evidently, according to Rebecca, what these lions, see lions back there, will do with a pangolin is they'll bat it around and roll it around like a bowling ball for a while until they can't get into the inside of it, and then just kind of give up on it. The pangolin unrolls and moves away. So there's tree pangolins and ground pangolins. The tree types have a tail that is almost twice as long as their body, and that helps them to climb, like a prehensile tail. This is the ground pangolin. The tail's not quite as long. It doesn't really do the climbing, but it uses that for defense. Now, pangolins are wonderfully protected from a lot of animal predators, but Marcy, if you could share a slide with us.
Yes.
And I see Maddie wonders if pangolins are still alive. They are such weird looking creatures. You'd almost wonder if they're even around anymore. They are still alive, but they are endangered. A lot of, I don't know if every species is technically endangered, but they are in danger. And people will hunt them, and people will also traffic or trade these pangolins for different reasons. And they've been used in the past for things like clothing. They've been used for like traditional medicines and things, but the problem is there have been so many pangolins taken from the wild for these reasons that now they're becoming very endangered, and they really can't defend themselves. They don't really do much except roll in a ball. That's great against a lion, but not against a person. So one thing we can do is just really to learn more about these wonderful pangolins. So look them up, find out more about them, and then, oh, this is the Temminck's pangolin. Okay, cool. And just learning more about and appreciating how unique, how incredible these little creatures are. And then also, in a couple months, February 20th, 2021, every third Saturday in February, we celebrate these animals. It's World Pangolin Day. So you can go to that address and check out more about pangolins, maybe find things we can do to help. But it all starts with just understanding and appreciating how really incredible these guys are. So Marcy, I think we're short on time. I'm happy to take a question or two if we have them.
We are. I don't believe we have any questions yet.
Okay. We fit in a lot of African animals.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think maybe you answered them all.
Great.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on this adventure. Next week, we are going to be talking about how animals adapt to the cold. I know I don't adapt very well to the cold. I wrap up in many, many layers and stay inside. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I adapt pretty well until it gets really, really cold out, and then I don't adapt well. Unfortunately, I can't change my hair or fur to white like this creature here to blend in with the snow.
Very true, very true. But I hope you all can join us next week. It's been such a fun adventure. We do have one question. If we have a minute, Jeff. Alex wonders how long pangolins can live.
Oh.
Lots of questions on that.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna turn that to Rebecca real quick if she can answer how long they live, because I don't know if it varies like species to species or how long they tend to live. But I will say I saw that a lot of people are feeling like they'd love to help pangolins, so be sure to check out that website. And again, the first thing to do to help is just to learn more about them and just find out how really cool they are, because they're a really, really unique animal that doesn't fit well into any other kind of family nowadays. So pangolins are just really, really cool. We'll see if Rebecca's going to answer on the life.
I agree. I've got some. I think Rebecca's typing to us. So it says around 20 years in captivity. So animals tend to live longer in captivity than they do in the wild. They don't have a lot of, they don't have any predators there. And they're well taken care of. So they tend to live a bit longer. So probably less than that in the wild. And there are 4 species of pangolin in Africa. 2 are tree and 2 are ground. And so each one could vary. They're pretty darn cute.
They are. They're really neat. All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.
Bye, all. Stay safe. Stay curious.